say sunsets together like never before. 'Cause if we catch them, the grey skies won't matter. And I heard they say when a girl walks the edges of the world, she'll find herself if she looks for long enough. They say, they say. They say when a girl walks the edges of the world, she'll find herself if she looks for long enough. They say when a girl walks the edges of the world, she'll find herself if she looks for long enough.
And we're live. Welcome back to the Dicey Cantina. I'm Andrew, your host, and joined as always by Mark and AJ. We have a special guest with us as well. Crystal, the woman who's stolen my heart, has come to join us for today's adventure. You were muted. I apologize about that. I've already made it awful. Here we go. So this is Hop Company, where once a month we get together and we play the games that we want to play. Though, as always, anybody who wants to make a suggestion of a game we should try down in the YouTube comments, we will take it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And this month, we are starting a new game. Last month, we were still in Mad Max Land, GM'd by AJ. But this month, Mark is taking the helm, and he's going to guide us through Wanderhome. Mark, tell us a little bit about Wanderhome.
Yeah, so Wanderhome is a cozy RPG by Possum Creek Games, written by Jay Dragon. It is more about the journey than any actual storytelling. So stories are bound to happen when you go on an adventure, but beginning, middle, and end are maybe a little bit harder to find when you're trying to find the place that feels like home. If you like what you're listening to and want to get a copy, there's a link to Possum Creek in the description. And they also, just to throw this out there, they've got a crowdfunding effort going on right now for Yaziva's Bed and Breakfast, which I should have backed by now, but will at some point soon. It's a slice of life tabletop RPG about found family in a magical house and the adventures they get up to along the way.
Awesome. We'll be sure and add that link in the description as well. And everybody who's joining us on YouTube, or you joining us later on YouTube, since this will be replayed there is also a link near the top for the Nightcast Discord that I forgot to mention. All the behind the scenes and chatting with us happens there. So feel free to click that link and join our Discord server. Sorry to interrupt you, Mark.
Come join us. It's okay. So before we started this, we talked about what playbooks we wanted to play, but didn't really get into the whole character creation or anything like that, because I feel like that is part of the journey, getting to know these characters and what makes them tick is important here. So why don't we start with the top right and go clockwise? And AJ, what playbook did you choose?
The playbook that I chose is The Caretaker. A caretaker, I'll read it from here. It says, someone must pay attention to all the small and forgotten things in the world. Someone must listen to the voiceless. You are alive. Your care is tender, supportive, and silent.
Right.
Yeah, the caretaker seems like a pretty cool one. I like the idea of taking care of all these small little spirits and little godlings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Sounds
Godlings.
super cool.
Andrew, who are you venturing forth as today? What playbook did you choose?
I chose the veteran. So the veteran reads as, you wield the blade that must never be drawn again. You are alive. Your care is intense, sober, and mindful.
And Crystal, what did you choose for today?
I'm gonna go with the dancer.
And how difficult was that decision?
Oh my goodness, so hard. Shouldn't be, but it was. We don't have to go into that, but I'm gonna go with the dancer. But in the playbook, it kind of makes it look like a little feisty thing, and I'm going a different direction. I'm gonna be like, if anyone knows what lyrical dancing is, maybe more balletic than on the tables, kind of thing. A little calmer.
Okay.
So it says, your inner fire is a song in your heart, not a voice in your head. The world will not quiet you. You are alive. Your care is intense, vocal, and full of light. And how much further do we go from there? That's the first part.
That's great.
Okay.
Have any of you three thought about what type of animal you want to play? The book provides some great choices, but also some abstract ideas for your animals.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So they have some of the choices that they have is a stoat, a salamander, a lemur, a crow. And I really like the idea. And then they have these two other ones, which were more, what'd you say, concept, a reflective animal, and which is animals and critters that have their eyes reflect at night, which I thought was super rad, and a quiet animal. So I went a deep dive to figure out which ones I wanted, and I went with an owl, a great horned owl.
Oh, I love that for you.
I feel like an owl is reflective in more than one way. You think of owls as wise, these sort of inner looking animals.
Yes, I
Cool.
definitely went and YouTubed, what was it, The Secret of Nim, just to have that dude in my mind.
Big creepy owl.
So creepy.
Have you thought of a name?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I am Mr. Aldo Nestor.
Oh, you're so good at stuff like that.
I won't tell you. You might have taken a while to figure out what playbook you wanted, and I was very hard up to come up with names and stuff like that. I went on that deep dive on that side, so
I haven't even started.
just fine.
You better start thinking right now.
Right?
Which is fine. This is part of the journey, discovering these people.
Well, and my thing is, I wanted something wise. So when I think of owls, I was thinking wise, and so I totally didn't Google wise names and didn't totally come up with Aldo and Nestor as being a couple of ones that were in there. No, not at all.
I know Sophie means wise in like Greek, but that's feminine, so not really. I don't see you as a Sophie.
And Aldo's pronouns, he, him?
He, him?
Okay. Okay. Andrew, have you given this any thought?
I did. In all honesty, when you said you wanted to run this, I hadn't stopped thinking about it, though I hadn't had a chance to jot a lot down. So I felt like I'll have lots of ready-made answers, but they don't have reasons, and we can explore those.
Sure. Great.
So the first animal, or let's say,
I know your animal.
Yeah, you do. Yes,
Yeah.
you do. It may have been a core reason for picking this. There were like 4. But so for everybody at home, the veteran has choose an animal. They have badger, hellbender, raven, mouse, a dangerous animal, a headstrong animal. And Mark knows that I've wanted to play a badger, so I am a
Mhm.
badger this evening.
Is this your Redwall influence? Are you just going to be yelling Eulalia all over the place tonight?
I don't know Redwall.
Oh.
To admit to
Oh,
never having
goodness.
read it. I know
Okay.
of it. I want to read it, but I have never touched those stories yet. I'm
Okay.
sorry, everyone.
Funny you should mention Badger, because I was about to pull an audible just a little while on my ride home today, and I was like, it'd be rad playing a Badger.
You would be a good
Just
badger too. You got the color going, the stripes.
Let's all be badgers.
That or a skunk. Yeah. No, go.
I thought about being a skunk,
Mhm.
like Flower from Bambi.
I picked a badger because I wanted a dangerous animal that was also cuddly.
Perfect.
Have you thought of a name at all?
I have William Derrig.
Why does that
William
sound
Derrig. So
familiar?
we're establishing that this world has first name, last name traditions.
Yeah,
that's
say
he
that?
goes by Bill. I mean, he's Bill the badger.
Of course.
Great. And what are Bill's pronouns?
He, him.
Okay. Okay, Crystal. You've
Yeah.
had about 10 minutes to think about this.
Uh-huh. I have like 5 cute little animals pulled up if y'all want to help me decide.
You've got are you going with one of the ones that they suggest, or are you thinking of a lively or hopeful animal?
I wasn't super into those. I kind of thought a
What were
Cape
they?
fox was cool. Like not a regular red
So-
fox, but a Cape fox. But what?
Their suggestions are fox, heron, tamarin, which is a small monkey, or skink, or a lively animal or a hopeful animal.
What would be a hopeful animal?
What'd you say?
So what would be a hopeful animal?
I don't know, but that's what I want to be, a hopeful animal.
Any
Honestly,
animal with big eyes.
yeah. The thing that keeps
I could
coming
see
to my
birds.
head is like a
Rabbits?
hare, but I don't want to like overdo the rabbit thing. But that's what keeps
You
me
can't.
Been
going.
playing a lot of rabbits.
Technically
It
just
happens.
one, but there are a lot of other people playing rabbits too.
This is the first live stream live game, though. You haven't played any animals or anything
true.
before for anyone other than us.
Yep.
Yeah, if you do want to be a hare, you could be a hare.
A
Okay.
pangolin.
A pangolin, those are fun. I've also got serval. Do you know what a serval is? No.
Are they related to pigs?
No.
Oh yeah.
They're like
No.
little cats. Kind of like an
Oh,
ocelot.
yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
let's
Ooh,
see.
pangolins are cool. They're like armadillos.
Yeah, I could see a pangolin veteran.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
The armored core.
Yeah.
That's a serval.
You could totally be a serval if you want.
Oh yeah.
Or a stoat.
Servals
Those
are
are really
cool.
cute. Not that it has to be cute, but I needed like a mammal.
As a
servals like a king.
dancer, I think to go with lively, you could play. Thinking of stoat, you could play like ferret or any of those like long-bodied animals. I could see them wiggling around.
I'm
Marmot.
just picturing a ferret doing the blow buddy dance. That's my best interpretation.
So these, I'm wasting time. What do you, I don't know. There's my little stoat inspo.
I like stoat and I like serval.
Okay.
I think both of those choices are good.
All
Is
right.
there one that you gravitate more towards?
Give me 2 seconds. Serval.
Serval?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
pointy ears.
And what sort of name do you think your serval would have?
Oh man, help me out.
You just pulled,
I know. I
what was
literally
it, Sophia out of nowhere.
well, because I know what they mean. Yeah, Sophia
Yeah.
means wisdom. I'm gonna go back to my list I put in the Bone King stuff. Remember that long
Oh,
list
yeah.
I wrote?
You had a good list.
What is a character trait that you think your character is?
Definitely hopeful and peaceful, and
Your serval could be named Hope.
Oh, that's simple and sweet. I didn't mean to sound like insulting.
It sounded like you thought it was sweet.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Sure. I'll take it. Because
I don't want to name your character for you.
Yeah. Let's see. I wrote down
If you don't,
things.
if you have a better one, you've got that
Honest.
nice long list.
Likable.
Here.
So my list has got like Remy, Lucy, Evie, a lot of E's. Ember. Ember could be fun. Fleur.
Or a lively, fiery animal
Yeah.
person. Ember could also be a last name.
I don't know. Do you like Hope? I kind of like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
And what are Hope's pronouns?
She's a girl. She.
Okay.
I don't know what the other. Her. That's the other word.
She, her.
I was like, how does that work? Yeah.
All right. Well, since we're talking about Hope, let's go on to the next question for Hope, which is choose 2 of the following things that you are and 2 that you wish you were better at being. Do you want to read those out, or would you like me to read them?
I have decided on those.
Okay, great.
I actually decided on a lot of the stuff except the name and the animal.
That's great.
Okay.
Perfect. So what do you have for that question?
But do read through them for
I need to
the
tell
audience at home.
the people what the other options are that I
You
didn't
don't
pick.
have to. It's just a
No,
nice
I
thing.
mean, yeah. You could do it however you'd like.
What's the
you
preference?
can read them all, or you can just read the ones
All
that you
right.
choose.
Choose 2 you are and 2 you wish you were better at being. The options are, I think there's always 9 options, right? Per thing. Upbeat, honest, hopeful, generous, frantic, focused, charismatic, handsome, beautiful. And let's see, what did I write down? I am hopeful and honest. And I want to be better at being focused and upbeat.
Okay.
She could be more
Like it.
energetic.
What about it was Aldo, right? Yeah, Aldo.
Aldo, let me scroll up to the caretaker.
Page 48.
Page
For those of you
48.
following along at home.
It says choose 2 you value being and 2 that feel exhausting to be. 2 that you value being. So the options are alert, reflective, patient, friendly, expressive, organized, gentle, masculine, feminine. So I was thinking about this owl. The 2 you value being are alert and patient. Alert and patient. And the 2 things I find exhausting, I think, are organized and
I knew it.
friendly.
Okay.
You know it? You called it?
Yeah, friendlies might be rough for you though.
It will be a stretch for me in role playing, since that is
Just
key.
lean into your jerk part of Wonderful Jerk, right?
Well,
That's
I feel
right.
like that could also be so being friendly is exhausting. Probably means Aldo leans more towards being an introvert. Like potentially being around people is just tiring, and maybe he would prefer to be around those small spirits, small gods.
I can relate to that.
I think, yeah. And that's what I was thinking also. Yeah.
All right, Andrew. Bill.
Bill. Bill has choose 2 you sometimes are and 2 you refused to be. You refuse to be.
I love these.
Yeah. The choices are cold, curt, bitter, exhausted, morbid, terrified, heartless, furious, and beautiful. And I'll say the 2 that Bill sometimes is would be beautiful and morbid. And the 2 they refuse to be is terrified and heartless.
Bill's seen some things.
Bill has seen some things.
All right. We're going to stick with Bill for the next question. So I believe it's the same for everybody, which is choose 3 to 4 to describe your look. Have you thought about this at all yet?
I have thought about what Bill looks like. We're going to match those things up with our choices here.
Okay.
Again, for folks following at home, we've got a billowing cloak, hidden armor, many scars, prosthetic limb, lyre missing a string, torn standard, pack of smokes, broken tooth, wide brimmed hat, blood soaked handkerchief, walking stick, and nervous tick. So he definitely has a billowing cloak.
Of course.
I think, and I think that cloak includes a big red hood. So it's like a bright red billowing cloak and hood. We'll say, he probably also still wears some hidden armor, just some rough like leather straps sewn into the rest of his clothes. Help him not feel afraid. He could take a hit or two if it came to it. Mm-hmm. And let's see. Oh, he's definitely got a walking stick as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with those 3.
All right. And we're going to travel backwards in the book from page 105 for our veteran to 53. And we're going to ask the same question for Hope. Choose 3 or 4 of the items on page 53 to describe your look.
Do you want me to read the options first, or just go with what I know?
Your call.
Okay. Andrew seems to want people to know, so we're going to share what you can be. Okay. There are three to 4 of these. Okay. Sunset shade robes, golden jewelry, loose-fitting pants, outrageously long scarf, elaborate silks, for dancing, of course, cloak covered in glowing fungi, stylized mask, wicker basket full of costumes, a trekking pole, bandage-wrapped feet, necklace of huge strung beads, a gleam in your eye. And I guess little Hope the serval has a gleam in her eye, loose pants, and a very long scarf. But like not a thick one, a thin gauzy one, so as not to impede movement.
Nice.
All right. And then moving backwards in the book again to page 49. I think what we're doing by reading all of these is just going further into the beauty of writing that this book is. All these, it's just filled with these like little moments and details that bring characters and places to life.
Yeah, and when we first started talking about this game, it's what I fell in love with, was just character creation is so smooth, and you get a picture of everything. You come up with a history and a future and a temperament for your character, and you're not stuck in the usual positions of what your class is. It's just great. The caretaker, it's choose 3 or 4. So you have your choice of wooden sandals, huge glasses, a scratchy cloak, a wheelchair, loose papers covered in sketches and notes, ceremonial robes, paint-stained pants, sea blue clay canteen, flowing dress, faded shawl, a plain ceramic mask, and last but not least, a constant rhythmic tapping. I went with, since he thinks he finds exhausting, really played into the loose papers covered in sketches and notes.
Perfect.
I really like the description of the sea blue clay canteen. I thought it'd be comforting to have the ability to have a plain ceramic mask as not to frighten small little creatures and critters around, and a faded shawl to show that he's been around and that he travels.
Great. All right. Next part is very fun, especially for the caretaker.
Yeah.
Is that what
Choose
yours
up
called?
to...
No, sorry. I thought that was what you were calling yourself for a second. That's what AJ is.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not really the game master in
Yeah.
this one. I'm just aiding you on your journey.
The narrator.
The guide.
Sure, yeah,
Did they
the
call it
narrator.
a guide in the book or something like that?
Do they call it a
I
guide?
think so.
That seems right.
So it sort of felt like caretaker. So for a second, I thought that's what that was.
Yeah.
Taking care of us.
AJ, I don't expect you to read them all because there are quite a few.
Yes.
But you get to. Have you thought about this one at all?
Yeah, I went over some of them and
Okay.
looked over which ones I thought would play well with an owl.
Okay.
And I think I have, and I wanted. I was thinking maybe
So
you guys
the
could
question
help
here
me.
is to choose up to 5 friends that hide in the many shrines you carry with you.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the reasons I've been watching a lot of Studio Ghibli,
Yeah, Ghibli.
and we
Ghibli?
just Ghibli.
I thought it
Ghibli?
was Ghibli. That's what I always hear.
Yeah, I think it's Ghibli.
Write us in the doobly doos which one it is, and we'll try to pronounce it. We just watched Princess Mononoke, and the kids were like, "What are those creatures? The little spirit animals?" And so I was like,
Mhm.
"Yes, how can I not want to play this?" So going through, they have little descriptors that I'm not totally sure how they work later, but I have some of them here. So okay, so these are some of the many little godlings and shrine dudes. Number 1 is a nameless ancient god seeking refuge within your shrine, who is feral and or hurt. I
Wow.
was like, dang, that I need that one.
Okay. You're keeping
Uh,
track of these, right?
I am keeping track of these. Yes.
Okay. I'm keeping track of what you look like, your names, your pronouns, and some
Okay.
other stuff that I might be able to poke at during
Yeah.
during the game. But this is a lot of text.
It's a
So-
huge amount of text, and so some of these play off of each other, and
Okay.
Zenith, a god of a single sunbeam.
Ooh.
I was like, dang, that's rad. And they are confident and or luminescent.
Okay.
And I think I keep them on the opposite side of me. In another pocket is Nadhir, a god of a single shadow. They are pensive and or invisible. Lilt, a god of a tossed aside creature. They are nervous and or dead. Dulcet, a god of tiny melodies. They are dramatic and or glamorous.
Going with all 5?
Well, 5-1 was iffy, and I was wondering if you guys would like to pick one that you would like me to have.
I haven't
Looking
read
over
them.
this, page
So-
49.
There was the god of tiny melodies named
Aw.
Dulcet, god of a single shadow named Nadhir,
Mhm.
god of a single sunbeam named Zenith,
Mhm.
the nameless ancient god seeking refuge,
Uh-huh.
and
Lilt, a
Lilt.
toss aside. And I'm
Tossed
willing to
aside.
give up for sure Dulcet, a god of tiny melodies.
Mhm.
I like it, but I was also thinking that if any one of those stood out to you guys, I would love to have it in replace of that.
They have a bunch of good names.
They have so many good names. Like,
Lilt is awesome. And Zenith
Yeah.
and Quasar.
there's a family of sapling gods who are ruckus and intertwined. Like, how wonderful would that one be?
they're all great.
Cloud, yeah, they're fascinating.
I really like Os or Os or
Mhm.
Os,
Yeah.
god of an empty stomach. I could just hear them growling from in your pack.
Oh yeah, yeah. Who was in Howl's Moving Castle? What was the name of the fire? Fire
Elsifer.
demon. Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's exactly what came to my mind when I read that. Yeah,
I don't know if those 5 stood out to you. I'd stick with those 5.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be happy with any choices you make.
I like those. Good choices.
Andrew.
Concur. I concur.
Also,
Okay.
I'm just getting lost in the story of each of these as I read,
Yeah.
Right?
read the name. I'm just
Each
like, oh, okay, yeah, no,
each
we'll
one of
be here
these
all
is
night.
they're all a hook and they're all a journey
Yeah,
just to find a new shrine for each one of these to be at.
And honestly, the whole game is like this. So
hmm
Yeah.
great.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
this book.
So we're gonna just move back and forth like a pendulum, and go back to Hope.
Okay.
Your question is to choose 3 dances you will gladly dance and 1 you will never dance again.
Oh, did it say again?
Have you looked?
Oh, it did. I forgot the
Yeah.
again part. That kind of ruined my
Yeah.
narrative there.
You
I had
you
written.
danced it once.
Okay. I wrote it down wrong. Okay. I liked a lot of them, but and I wrote down all the ones for options that I liked, but the 3 that I'm gonna stick with are I dance with wild creatures to calm them and rejoice. I dance with the broken and crumbling to remind it what was and what could be. And I dance with an unfamiliar place to listen and befriend whatever's there, or the place itself, or new people we meet, or the little godlings that maybe Aldo's seeking. I don't know. And
And the
then
one.
I wrote the. So I honestly I forgot that it said again. I was gonna say that I never dance with time itself to teach an ancient story, because it's not my place, as some people do. That she's just not. She's not that kind of person. She leaves that to other people, the ancient
Maybe
storytellers.
she did it once and was scolded or something.
Sure.
We can explore it if it comes up.
Yeah, that sounds good. Because, like I said, I hadn't thought of it that way, so I'm not great at thinking on my
Yeah,
feet
I like that.
sometimes.
No, that one's super good. Like you said, it's one of those. We don't define reality. We can only describe reality, and for us to try to define reality can put us in our place.
That was deep.
And moving back to the other side of the pendulum, our veteran Bill,
hmm
your question is pretty good.
it is.
You want to read it?
Yeah. So I have. You have a sword sheathed at your hip. You can unsheath it whenever you want. You must never unsheath it. Choose 2 to describe your sword. I successfully have picked one of the 2 and will happily take input on the other. So the options are sharper than anything else in the world, engraved with a sacred name, gifted by a proud parent, looks unremarkable unless you know what to look for, blessed by a powerful God, forged from the heart of the world, passed down among generations of monarchs, stolen from a massive horde, once proof of your undying love for another, or the trait starving. The one that I have picked so far is once proof of your undying love for another.
He's a romantic, huh?
It's why
He's always a romantic.
Sometimes. He is. Can I see your list since you just have it and I don't have to scroll?
Yeah.
Engraved with a sacred name.
That one stood out to me too.
Yeah. Because what is the name? Is it the name of the sword? Is it the name of that
The
undying love? Is it a legible name? It might not be. I
Or
also
is it a-
really like the super powerful ones, like Forged from the Heart of the
I
World.
like that one too. A lot.
I don't know. I kind of. Then at the same time, you look at starving and go, "Is the blade cursed now?" And that's why you can't sheath it. You can't
Yeah.
unsheath it.
Yeah.
And Starving has that little trauma symbol next to it. The blade itself is traumatized.
Whoa.
Or is it dying for love?
It could be. I did in picking once proof of your undying love for another, I did also see the sword being a gift to me from that love.
Why did your love give you a sword? Were you leaving on a journey you needed protection from?
I'm a veteran. I was leaving for war,
Oh, right. Obviously.
and they wanted my return.
Passed down among generations of monarchs with being gifted as proof of undying love is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mix up
As in the
all.
undying love of the family.
Undying love of some ruler.
Oh yeah.
I think what just jumped out at me is actually the looks unremarkable unless you know what to look for.
Mhm.
Because I think in using the same tone for the small and forgotten gods, I think the gift is more of a, it was once proof and is now more of a small and forgotten token.
Okay.
It's gotten older.
Oh, that's good.
And then it's so mysterious. Like it could be anything.
Could be anything.
As we get to more
All
of
right.
the questions, I bet
Yeah.
more of it will stand out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of more of the questions, we're going to stick with Bill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Choose one lesson you've learned and two you've since forgotten. Tell the table about them.
Mm.
Again, a lot of text. Probably don't need to read it all.
Yeah, I don't think I will.
But if you've got two or the three picked out.
I don't have all three picked out. I read
Okay.
over it briefly. I'm going to go silent for a moment and read over them again, and then I
Okay.
will tell you about these three lessons.
Yeah. It looks like they each have a. What is that emote? What's the empty
The
grieving royal?
double cross is trauma.
Okay.
And then the three flowers is magical,
Okay.
which I don't think there are any magical ones in this one. It seems like it only makes sense that the veteran is somebody who has been through things, knows the reality of the
Mhm.
world, and doesn't get caught up in the magical aspects anymore. Maybe at some point in time they did, but of all of the playbooks, the veteran just seems inherently like the character who's nearing the end of their journey. They've got something to
Mhm.
explore still, but they've already had quite a journey behind them.
Almost like they're needing to come to the grips of the reality of what they've done and who they were on that. Yeah. Which I think that's majority of what all these guys are. All these character playbooks come
Yeah.
out to be.
It sounds
The-
like that phrase, the sunset years.
Mm-hmm.
The world, while we're pausing here, the world that this takes place in, it's called the Haith, I think AE, I think
Yes.
TH.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it is a world with you can play it with magic, you can play it with less magic if you want, but there was war, but now there is peace. And so interestingly, whatever the veterans saw, they're not necessarily useful anymore. Soldiers aren't soldiers at this time.
They can still be useful.
They're soldiers, but they're not at war, so they're missing their purpose at the
Their
moment.
only
Yeah.
purpose? They're still people.
But if your job is a soldier,
But your job isn't your only purpose in life.
So the
at
hardest
war
part
it
in
is.
all of this is all of the lessons are lessons that I feel would never be forgotten if once learned. So picking two of them and saying that I've forgotten it is the core challenge here.
Maybe metaphorically, like you left it behind more than literally forgot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, that it's incredibly difficult to feel that lessons would be forgotten. The lesson that I've learned was a sobbing and hurt young child taught me that a single slice kills not only the enemy, but everyone who loved the enemy as well. And this is why I must never unsheathe my blade.
Dang, you're going tragic on us, huh?
They're all this tragic.
They're all. they all
True.
uh-huh.
There's not much hope for the lessons learned.
Mhm.
Bill won't be a tragic character by any stretch of the imagination, but these lessons are all tragic lessons to be learned. The two
And the two that, yeah,
Sad
I've
you've
since
left behind or forgotten.
and I think I'm going with that idea of he's put them away or suppressed them in a way, as opposed to completely forgotten about them. Chooses to actively repress the idea. Is your once lover recoiled from you when they saw the blood on your hands, and this is why you must never unsheathe your blade. And the second, you saw in the eyes of someone you thought was heroic the fate that awaits everyone who knows violence, and this is why you must never unsheathe your blade.
What,
Yeah. Good choice.
What were the two
Great
labels?
choices.
Like the
I was choosing one lesson that I've learned, and two I have since forgotten.
Could you retell me which ones were which? I'm sorry.
Sure. A sobbing and hurt
Okay,
young
that
child.
one was what? I remember it.
It's the lesson I've learned.
Okay.
Just the one that stays. That killing doesn't just kill the person, but slices everyone
Yeah.
who is loved by that person. And then the two I've forgotten was that my once lover recoiled from me when they saw the blood on my hands. And I also once saw in the enemy, I saw in the eyes someone I thought was heroic, the fate that awaits everyone who knows violence.
Okay.
Thank you.
And on to someone slightly more joyful. Hope. Your question here is choose one you teach anyone who wants to learn, and one you'll only ever dance alone. And tell the table about them.
Oh man, I think I forgot that one. I thought I had everything answered. Sorry. Let me look real quick. Okay.
Choose one you teach.
I'll just read
anyone
them
who
real quick.
wants
They're
to
not
learn.
too long. A battered iron handpan drum forged by a cheerful friend who I miss terribly. A cheap tambourine stolen from a bitter and furious merchant. A beautiful golden lyre, the symbol of my noble birth. A soft and gentle reed flute snatched from the north wind god himself. An ocarina carved from a seashell gifted by an imaginative child. A rhythmic work song, a tradition from a life you have no desire to return to. A lovely whistled tune, the last song your mother ever sang for you. Okay, there were some of those I didn't want. Which ones did I?
So one is one that you will teach anybody,
Yeah.
and one is one that you'll only ever do alone.
What did... I don't think she's noble. I'm not going to do the mom thing. Funny.
AJ's gif is funny.
Oh, okay. I don't have that up right now.
AJ, stop distracting everyone.
Why is this one so hard? I don't know. Nothing really like sings to me here, so I just have to like check them off. Can you come back to me?
We've got. We want to swing the pendulum to the other end and talk to our caretaker, Aldo.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Your question is about ceremonial objects.
Choose one ceremonial object you still honor and one ceremonial object you cannot treasure any longer. And tell the table about them. And this one has a bunch of different ones, like from beeswax candles to wind chimes from a flaming temple, a beautiful walking golden stick adorned with feathers and runes, passed down from generations, a deck of ocular cards hand painted by a empathetic childhood friend who could hear the gods whispering, a handbook attempting to name all the gods, written by a poetic writer you once loved, a wide ceramic dish filled with golden light bestowed upon you by the many small and forgotten gods who witnessed you as you faced certain death. That's one I chose.
As the one you still honor?
It's the one I can no longer,
Oh,
the one ceremonial object I cannot treasure any longer
okay.
is a wide brimmed ceramic dish filled with golden light. Um, and the one object I still honor is a deck of ocular cards hand painted by an empathetic childhood friend who could hear the gods whispering.
So you've got an oracle deck, a set of cards to potentially predict the future.
Yeah.
Something we didn't do with Andrew's characters. It says tell the table about them. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the oracle cards and a little bit about this ceramic dish that you no longer honor? Maybe what that certain death you faced was that rewarded you this item.
Have we discussed what happened in the past of Heath with the wars and what the battles were?
We have not, and it's very vague in the books, and I think it's very vague on purpose. Did you have something in mind?
I think these two are tied together. I think it was during one of the instances during the wars, there was a great fire, and during this great fire, me and my friend were trapped in one of the temples that was crumbling. They went back in for their cards, and during that time, the temple was collapsing. We were pinned, and the only thing that was left after and was alive was Aldo, and there was this dish that had small forgotten gods who watched on as we faced that certain death. And I think Aldo cares for these cards not for their ability to predict the future, but as a way to remember his friend who also could hear the gods whispering. Maybe they heard him God's whisper in a different way. Maybe Aldo tries to hear in the similar way that they do, but maybe he shuffles those cards to try to remember how he heard them.
Cool. Okay. Hope the Serval. Have you made a decision?
Yeah. To pull it up real quick. I lost it. There it is.
So your question again was choose one dance or song or instrument that you teach anyone who wants to learn, and one you'll only ever dance to alone.
Okay. I am happy to share my ocarina carved from a seashell gifted by an imaginative child. And anybody can play along and we can dance. And the one that I will only do alone is an old rhythmic work song, a tradition from a life I have no desire to return to. It's going to be sort of a, like, rhythmic sounds like happy, but I think it's sort of, I don't know, it makes me think of like the chain gang, like the old like work like songs on the railroad or something. And
Would you
Huh?
Would you like to elaborate on either of those?
Do you have a question I could elaborate with?
A tradition of life you have no desire to return to. What is that tradition, or what was the work? maybe what sort of place did you live in that you have now left. You don't have to answer all those questions,
Sure.
but
No,
those are
that
some
helps.
ideas.
Yeah, that helps. That's good. It's not so much the work that was specific, it's just a song that she remembers from that time of her life around the people that she's no longer around. And they were kind of like callous and chaotic, and she just really didn't thrive in that and wanted to move on into a find something more peaceful and hopeful.
Mhm.
And so there's just a song from that past that it's catchy and it's kind of like soulful and mournful, and it sometimes still rings in her head like an old hymn, we'll say.
Nice.
Okay. And we're going to head back to AJ.
Yeah.
Ask a question for
Oh.
Crystal and a question for Andrew.
All right. All right. I've been looking forward to these. I have no clue. Okay. Let's see. So these are the questions I can ask. Which of my small and forgotten gods did you rescue and give to me? What do you know about the world that I don't? What is something I knew about you that I had no right to know? Do I listen to you when you feel small and forgotten?
I think that's your call, buddy.
And it is. Crystal, or Hope,
Mm-hmm.
what do you know about the world that I don't?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that one.
That's why I asked it.
You're so clever.
He used those oracle cards to figure out the one that you didn't want to
Uh-huh.
answer.
Do you want Andrew to go first?
I just feel like I need to know a little bit more about you to determine what you wouldn't know.
Okay. Well, here I'll ask Andrew his,
Okay.
Okay.
and then you'll come back and you'll know more. Bill the Badger, which of my small and forgotten gods did you rescue and give to me?
And a reminder of those gods were the nameless ancient god who seeking refuge within your shrine, who is feral and hurt. The Zenith, a god of a single sunbeam, they're confident and or luminescent.
Nadir,
But couldn't it be
a
any
Nadir.
god of a
thing?
single shadow.
Yep.
Lilt,
Pensive.
oh, yeah.
Yep. Pensive and or invisible. Lilt.
Lilt, yeah.
Go for it.
A lilt, a god of a tossed aside creature. They are nervous and or dead. Dulcet, a god of tiny melodies. They are dramatic and or glamorous.
And I do think you're supposed to pick the and or.
See, I read that
You-
as
you-
like the person could make up what they felt they would find on the journey, that it didn't have to be on the list. Like, but that's not my question, so it doesn't matter.
I wish I knew why your camera was doing that.
Just disappearing. And or dead. Yep. Schrodinger's god.
We're gonna go with we're going with Lilt. God of a tossed aside creature. They are nervous. And because they are rescued, they are not dead.
Oh, I like that.
Say that again?
So I've picked Lilt.
Mm-hmm.
And Lilt is a god of a tossed aside creature. They are nervous and or dead. And AJ or Aldo's question to Bill was, which of my small and forgotten gods did you rescue and give to me? And I'm not sure which tossed aside creature Lilt is a god from. but I can see Bill having come across this creature near death and being a veteran, not knowing necessarily how to care for it and seeking out Aldo to get it the care that it needs.
I love it. I'm writing it down. Where was what was what was the circumstances around you finding it?
I think I've wandered alone for a while after those experiences, the questions, the lessons that were learned. There was an opportunity or a necessity of exploration, and the determination to not be heartless. He saw lots of heartless things, and just on the path in the woods came across this creature that needed tending, that was nervous, that experienced some trauma. Bill poured into that opportunity to find a caretaker for it.
Is that how you met?
Probably.
Probably.
To help Crystal with the question for Hope just a little bit, AJ, why don't you read some of the things that Aldo can always do?
Oh yeah. Some of the things Aldo can always do is I can always pause, tilt my head to the side, and keep going. Play with one of my gods. Say something in silence better than words can. I can also notice a little friend everyone else overlooked. I can say, hold this. I can ask, shh, can you hear that? And then they get a token if they try their best to hear what you do. So there's cool things. There's tokens in this game, I guess.
Yep, we'll get to tokens as soon as the last question is answered, which is 2 characters away.
Okay, I'm gonna go off of your silent nature and say that. Wait, how was it worded? What is the thing I'm supposed to answer exactly? I don't have it here. Let's see.
It says,
What is something I know? What is it?
let me see.
What do you know about the world that I don't?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. That while I very much value the silent communication that you can offer, the thing, I don't want to say that you don't know, but that I might help you remind you of maybe, is that there are people who really need your words, and that you're wise. What's another good characteristic you had? Like a positive one. You don't like being friendly, but
alert and patient were his the things that he values.
okay. I'm just kind of gonna assume that you're wise and some other good stuff that you can that people need to hear from you, and that you can be really encouraging. And some people just need those words and for you to find them.
So to say it back to you, I need to not dwell in my silence, but I need to be vocal for others.
Yes.
Sometimes.
And like to them, people that like those close knit relationships, to have the conversation.
That sounds so exhausting.
Right? They can be short and sweet, but sometimes sometimes people just need those words.
I like it.
Moving on to Hope.
Yeah.
why don't, before we ask the questions, why don't you tell us some of the things that Hope can always do?
I can dance idly, like sway with the breezes without even noticing. I like to laugh and smile. I can always leap up on top of something, but not in the way that, like, the people in the tavern might jump on top of a table. I just really like the good views and where the breeze is the best. So I enjoy climbing up to the rooftop or a tree or a mountain. And I can always give a song to those around me. I can ask, will you dance a dance with me? And I can always ask, do you want to be my friend?
Okay. And you have questions for Aldo and Bill.
Yep.
Feel so nervous.
You should.
Should he? Why?
You're being graded. No, you're just being watched by a half dozen people. That's all.
Just and whoever comes later to YouTube.
Yeah.
That part makes me anxious. I'm going to read the options. The 4 options are, why do I call you my best friend? Why won't you ever dance with me? So accusatory. Why did I come with you when we left home? When was the last time we stayed up all night to watch the sunrise? One of them I decided not to ask because I'm confused by it, but I want to talk about it for a second. Is
Right.
the why did I come with you when we left home? And that, like, assumes a story for someone else. Like, do I know
Yes.
that one of them would have had the same home as me? And should I assume that? That seemed odd to
Why?
me.
I think this is an opportunity to talk about your past, and it may not be that place may not have been home for either of you for very long, but you called it home potentially at the same time.
And I'm so not
It doesn't
someone...
necessarily have to be the place that you grew up.
Sure. I'm so not someone to decide things for other people, let alone myself. So I would have to be like, do one of you want to come from a home with me? Otherwise, I have other questions I'll ask.
I will say I am more than willing to be forced into just about any circumstance. So that is the joy of this sort of game.
Sure. Okay.
That's the fun. You can ask us any of those questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to assume we came from the same home because I don't have a backstory for that figured out yet.
You could ask someone else, and then they essentially have created it for you, which I think is why the question is there. But if you don't want to
These
outsource
questions,
it, ask what you wish.
I think the point of these questions is to help tie your character to the other characters at the table.
Right. Yeah. They're really
Yeah.
good questions.
Yeah.
Bill, why do I call you my best friend?
The hardest of the questions,
Is it?
isn't it? I kind of feel like it is.
Gotta talk about my best friend.
I think many might call Bill their best friend.
So I'm not your best friend?
But that's because Bill is jovial and kind despite what has happened in his past. And so when kindness is shared with him, when Hope tries to dance with him or share in the exuberance of life, Bill joins in with very little reservation.
That's always impressive.
And I think that shared joy would be our friendship.
Oh,
I like that.
that's good. Aldo, when was the last time we stayed up all night to watch the sunrise?
I often stay up late. It was amazing that you stayed up late. I think it was when we were both hungry because the god kept telling us that it was hungry. and our bellies were growling, and because we ran out of food, because we feasted a little extra, and you were dancing, and Mr. Bill he was started dancing also, and so we all had a little bit extra, and so our bellies were rumbling, and think it was when we were on the mountaintop, on with all the flowers, with all the bees, and we wanted to watch the bees wake up and start tending to the flowers.
We knew it'd be
You
the
said
best
you
for
hadn't been up that early in quite some time, and I said, well, I usually go to bed about that time. And so we stayed up a little bit extra.
I forgot you'd be nocturnal. That's cool.
And as a note, something AJ remembered: insects are basically livestock in this world. You get herds of bumblebees and stag beetles pulling carts and stuff like that.
Bugalo.
Just fun.
Yes, bugalows. I like that.
Okay. Bill, what are some things that you can always do?
Well, with a good life's worth of experience, I can always repeat a calming phrase, spend time practicing a craft I'm not very good at, drum against the pommel of my blade. I can leap to my feet, say, I don't do that anymore, ask, what are you hiding? And I can also unsheath my blade and immediately kill the person in front of me. Then I must remove my character from the game because I can no longer play with them. That is why
And your questions?
My questions. Let's see. Hope, when did you realize that I'm a good person?
The first thing that comes to mind was your kind eyes. I just knew. It's one of those things. But you probably want an actual instance. But I really,
Well,
it was really
perhaps
those
you
kind
had the
eyes.
idea from the start, but maybe there was a particular instance that solidified it.
I want to have come across you when you were on your journey to find someone to take care of that little lost creature. And it was so sweet that you really cared and wanted something better for it, that you took the time. I liked that story and decided you were worth following around.
Awesome.
Does that work? Oh, look at that cute owl.
And Aldo, what do I still need to learn from you?
Goodness.
That's a good question.
What do you still need to learn from me? I think the thing that you need to learn from Aldo is quite possibly how to be still with yourself. I think that on this journey, quite possibly, you're always on a move because you're wandering from something, your past, perhaps, and that when you finally can come to a rest and be calm with yourself, you can hear the end of it and the end of what you need to, or something you need to put to silence. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's another way I could say that. Okay.
You don't have to have taught it perfectly yet. I'm still learning it.
Good.
Okay. We've asked our last question. So now that we've talked about our characters at length. AJ, can you introduce your character to everybody?
Ooh, hello. I'm Aldo Nestor. I am a great horned owl. I am a caretaker of many little gods. They talk to me, I talk to them. Some days you can consider it a privilege for me to even talk to you. I'm working on that. As my dear friend Hope suggests that I need to work on is talking to everyone, not just to the little gods.
I didn't say everyone.
Correction, not everyone. So you and you, I don't have to talk to today. Just one of you.
Whoever needs
You
it.
over there, you look fine. I can talk to you today.
Fantastic. Andrew, can you introduce Bill to us? AJ did a great job with the voice. You can just describe your character, what they look like, what they would be doing, walking down the path, if you want.
I want so desperately to do a voice, but I've yet to practice. So
Your deep, slow voice is pretty good for this character.
deep and slow.
No, just like what you were doing. Just your
just
somber,
my regular voice.
your somber, like serious
My-
voice.
My
Not your
schizophrenic voice.
Vutrid
Not my Vutric.
voice,
Your pensive, like,
slightly gravelly voice.
pensive, caring voice. That's what you have.
I think we would see Bill sitting on a hilltop just off the road, taking a rest. And he's quietly observing the passersby. He is attentive and interested in everyone who passes by. His past being from those struggles around him have taught him the importance of kindness as a response to violence. And so he's a big, burly badger. The black streaks are turning gray. And he wears this, as we said earlier, this bright red cape and hood. The hood is always low, just over where his eyes are at eye level, so that he has to look up in order to see. And I try and share as much of my wisdom with others as I can. Laughing is important medicine in the world. We all can find things to laugh at, wouldn't you say? And I think that would describe Bill on an unusual day.
Nice rhyming.
What do we see when we look at Hope?
She's a little serval cat-like person with pointy ears. And I think she's smaller than, like, she would have been the runt of her litter. But being light makes for good dancing. She is a hopeful, peaceful soul. Oh, I'm supposed to talk like in the first person. I just realized that.
And you don't have to.
I was going to try. Let's see.
Everybody role plays different.
Yeah. Okay, so visually, I have a long gauzy scarf that sometimes makes for really fun dancing, and it blows in the breeze. It's just a fun thing. It's very useful. I've got a gleam in my eye and loose pants for lots of movement. A linen shirt. I think my scarf is bluish, like the sky. what there's so many things on these sheets. How do we narrow it down? She just likes to be one with nature and to find her movement through what's going on, and without really being aware of it, my art is expressing myself and through just movement, and it's usually kind of subtle and slow, and I'm not super still all the time, but it's not a raucous thing. I get my energy from what's around me, and I prefer for it to be a calming presence.
Okay. Before we jump fully in, there's like this game is very rules light, but there is one thing that that we have as sort of a currency rather than rolling dice. We have tokens. If you don't have tokens, you should probably grab something to use as tokens. And I'll just read straight from the book about the tokens. So,
About how many do you think we would want to start with, you think?
maybe 3 or 4.
Oh, that's okay. Good.
Not too many.
I'm shooting them across the room.
Just like when we play Genesis or Star Wars RPG, they're going to be a currency. You're going to use them. You're going to get them. They're going to move into and out of your possession. So there is a rhythm to the way we move through the world. Sometimes we give others all we have to offer, and through that we can find strength. Here, this rhythm is represented through tokens. Whenever one of us makes a personal sacrifice, sticks our necks outside our comfort zone, or pays close attention to the world around us, we'll get a token. It might be easier or more natural for some of us to do these things than it is for others, but that's no matter, as we'll all get tokens regardless. After gaining tokens, we can then turn around and spend those tokens to shape the world. These actions always push on or solve something important, which might not be easy to resolve on its own. We'll sometimes catch ourselves inadvertently doing these things anyway, but there's an important difference between following a course of action that hopefully will help someone out and spending a token to declare, I am taking a stance here. There is strength in that sort of fundamental truth. There are other ways you might get tokens, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So you get a token whenever you inconvenience yourself to help someone else.
Which is constantly.
You give away something you hold dear. Pause for a moment and get some rest. Leave an offering to a small or forgotten god. Speak your true feelings on a subject. Take a moment to bask in the grandeur of the world and describe it to the table. Take a moment to watch a tiny moment of beauty and describe it to the table. Or take a moment to marvel at something no one has ever seen before and ask the table to describe it. You can spend a token in order to provide a solution for an aspect of a material or immediate problem, to ease somebody's pain, if only for a moment, to keep someone safe from the difficulties of the world, to offer someone the chance to connect with you on a personal level, to find what someone needs, to give them a chance to change fundamentally, to reveal something hidden about the person in front of you and ask them what it is, to know something important about the place you're in and tell the table about it, or to listen to the shared wisdom of the many small and forgotten gods and ask the table what they tell you. So those are all, I'm going to look at those as suggestions and not hard rules, but they give us sort of an idea of what we can use tokens for. They change and shape the world, and just like any game that, at least any game that we play here on Nightcast and Dicey, they are all available for collaboration. This is not just my game, this is everybody's game. We're all working together to tell the story of our journey.
So I'm not going to remember any of those. I'm just going
That's fine.
to assume that, like, they'll come as we play naturally.
Yep.
Unless you want to tell
Yep,
me a
and if-
page number that I'll have pulled up.
It's 18 if you want to reference it,
Okay, thanks.
That's what I wanted.
but-
I thought so.
but the tokens will flow.
I'm not here for the tokens.
Gotta get all the tokens.
AJ's give me that token.
It is the second month of the year. Sorry, it is the second month of leap, the season of leap. Monsoon, when the great rains come and bring water to the heath. Crystal,
Yeah.
choose one of these that the place you're currently journeying into lacks, and all the others are present.
Okay.
So what does it lack? Torrential rain, brief moments of clear skies, beautifully green plant life, or brooding clouds.
Read them one more time, or at least the first two.
Torrential rain, brief moments of clear skies, beautifully green plant life, or brooding clouds. It has all of these except one.
It definitely lacks the brooding clouds.
Okay, great.
Do I need to expound on that?
You don't. We will expound on that once we journey into this place.
Okay. I have thoughts.
I'm sorry?
I said I have thoughts. We'll move on though.
Okay. AJ, you're going to pick two of these, and Andrew, you're going to pick two of these.
Okay.
We're going to choose 4 signs of the month found in this place. Dancing in the rain. Heavy quilt blankets. Lots of tea. The clean smell of soil after the rain. Jumping in giant puddles. Enveloping mists. Overflowing rivers. Distinctive rain jackets. Bored kids. A great sacrifice for the north wind god. A dreary state of mind. Or something else of your own invention. Any of those stand out to you?
One that stood out for Miss I don't have to talk to you. You. Hoo-hoo. One of the things that stood out for Aldo was all these cursed bored kids.
Kids.
It's bad enough that it's raining and my feathers would get soaked, but there's bored kids.
Youths.
Can't you have them dance or quietly, or teach them a quiet song, or have them make tea? Because there's lots of tea here. I think that's my other one. There's an abundance of tea.
Great.
I can do that.
Okay.
We'll gather some
Andrew?
berries.
What are your two choices?
I think we definitely need some enveloping mist, I believe it was.
Okay.
Because the water's like rising.
That's why we don't see brooding clouds, perhaps. All the clouds are on the ground. And I think we have to have the, the clean smell of sod, I believe it was. Soil?
New
Yeah,
soil.
soil after
Soil.
that.
Yeah.
What is the word for that? Yes. Petrichor.
Petrichor. I don't know that I know this word.
It's a good smell.
Okay. Lastly, every time monsoon rolls around, ask the table, do you seek shelter?
Who's supposed to answer this?
All of you.
Nope.
There's no reason to hurry. It's just a little rain. I've got a hood.
It's exhilarating.
Yes, that too.
Although,
My feathers are getting wet, and then I don't know if all my gods like this wetness. And I can trudge on if you can trudge on, but I might not be satisfied in this current predicament that we have found ourselves in yet again.
wow, none of you seek shelter, huh? Okay.
What does seeking shelter do?
Uh,
Does that
if
mean we get to hang
somehow,
out here?
if you all loved this game so much that we played it for like the next year and we got back around to monsoon, if I filled up all these raindrops on the page with people who are seeking shelter,
There are raindrops?
the great flood would come.
Ooh. Wait, I don't understand.
It's okay.
So for each month, assuming that you play lots and lots of games of this over the course of time, each month has a special thing. So for monsoon, it's the great flood. If I were to fill up these raindrops on my page, the great flood would come, and that would change the world for the season.
And how do you fill them up? Or why?
If
if
any
you're
of us
seeking-
sought shelter, it would start to
Yep.
fill up the raindrops.
What did Mark say? What did,
That's exactly it.
okay.
Uh,
Why?
yeah, other ones are in the next month. I won't tell you what you have to say or not, but a majestic bloom may come where everything is just covered in flowers. Yeah, meteor showers and
I just don't
and
get the
cold
connection.
winters and
Like, why does our taking cover make that thing happen?
It's a game.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's
I
a
don't
game
get-
mechanic.
It's just a game mechanic.
Yep. It's so that if you continue playing this, the world continues to change around you.
So are we saying we're not continuing to play by not taking shelter?
No, we've just all
Probably going to play at
chosen-
least 3 sessions.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just I'm sorry. I'm new to role playing, guys. For any of you.
Sure. And this game is
out
different
there.
than other games.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically what we're doing is we're not playing an extended campaign like we are with the Bone King and some other things that we're doing. Yeah, we're just going to play through a couple months and we're going to see
Yeah.
where the journey takes us.
And so in some role playing games, they have a kind of a static line of how the story progresses. You start here, you go here, and you accomplish X, Y, and Z, and then that's the end of the campaign. And some of them you go longer, and it's almost a force mechanic for the world to change based on the character's input.
But it
So,
couldn't happen
yeah.
if we don't take cover. That just doesn't click to me. But okay. I'm like, I want the cool thing to happen at the end, but what if we want to dance in the rain? And then that wouldn't make it happen.
Then you want to dance in the rain and the rain will continue.
Yeah.
But if
We're just talking about a mechanic that Mark has to help guide the
Okay.
story.
I just
Yep.
logic and story.
Yeah.
Just asking you a question.
I'll just move on. Thanks. Sorry.
No, it's a cool mechanic. It's different.
That-
So as an owl, a serval, and a badger crest a hill, there's a small shrine on the side of the road. The sky above you is clear, but ahead you see fog in the valleys, and every once in a while raindrops will fall, even though the sky above you has few clouds. The ground is soft and dark brown with recent rain. The path that you're on is stony but still soft. And it's the time of the year where the trees are just beginning to sprout their leaves. Some of them have little bunches of flowers and petals, and the stalks of spring flowers are showing up on the edges of the road into the forest. You see Hope, who is enjoying the scenery, enjoying the nature around her, sees some little white flowers, the harbinger of spring, sprouting up here and there. And you crest the top of this hill and look down into the valley beyond. And we get to describe our place now. So, what page is that on?
What page is what on? Our description?
That was after
Okay.
all the traits, which
We're on
took
page
a-
23.
oh, I was way off.
So each one of you get to choose one of these things. If you're looking at page 23, we've got natures of this place. So, yeah, we're going to select these natures to further describe the area, whether it's a town or a village, even a city that you're about to see pop up through the mist in the valleys.
That's not on the list.
What's not on the list?
City. I don't. But we can make it a city if we want.
Yep, choose any one of those.
But it's not on the list.
What page was that again? 23?
23.
Is it different for us in the PDF?
Nope.
Might be.
Our first place. Okay, whatever. I'll let you guys do this.
You gotta pick one.
You get to pick one.
I think
right.
I'm gonna pick a tower.
Tower,
I'm
great.
Comfortable.
Sorry, I'm looking for the page still.
Page 23.
It's
Our first place.
It's
are
not
you?
what.
Let's see.
It's a yellow page.
Uh-huh.
It has folklore at the bottom.
There are colors?
Yes, there are.
Mine's in black and white. Or gray and black and beige.
Because it's the print one.
Okay.
You could also go to page 137, AJ.
All right. 137. Yeah, that's so weird. That's the traits. Are we in natures?
Yep.
We're in natures.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. 147 for me. Let's see. Where it has comfortable natures, verdant natures.
Liminal natures, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
There's
That's
way
odd.
more on
Yeah,
this
it's-
page. The other page.
page
only
Yes,
has
one-
four.
choose from the first three sections.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So the first three, comfortable natures, verdant natures, and liminal natures are all more common. And then sprawling, lonely, and desolate are uncommon. So I think for this first place, we're going to visit a common place.
And we're putting together the three things we each choose.
Yep.
Like this place will have a tower, but okay.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be a tower. It could be something that is tower-like.
Right.
It could be a fortress. It could be a tall hill in the center.
But that's for you to make up after we tell you the word.
Oh, we're all working together on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Andrew just said tower. He didn't say anything
Mhm.
else, so I didn't know.
Okay.
You know me. I'm quick to decide things and then see what happens.
Uh-huh. I like the idea of a tower and kind of like the idea of having a market around it.
Market. Okay.
What do you picture a glen as opposed to a hollow?
Um,
Hollow goes in is it like a little valley in the recess of a mountain.
Right.
A glen is an open place in
I picture where the master
bottom
sword
of
is
valley.
in.
that is very much a glen. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Just make. Sometimes I question what I'm thinking. Okay. Um, I think there needs to be a hillock,
A hillock. Okay.
nearby.
Perfect. I like that you each chose. Well, we got two comfortable and one verdant nature. That's good. Okay, so with tower, market, and hillock in mind, what do you see as you crest this hill? What sort of place is laid out in the valley below you?
Something I notice is a big what I called from my childhood like a wash. It's like a big rushing river from the monsoon that's happening. It's not always there, but it's here in this time of year, and it's rushing with lots of water, and it's kind of dangerous, but it's somewhat meandering through this scene near the market and tower. You guys can do what you want with
Interestingly,
that.
that could represent our hillock, which is a place. So this is a place in the foothills of a great and looming presence, and that raging river could be our great and looming presence.
Ooh, I like
Nice.
that. 'Cause when I grew up in Arizona, where we have monsoon season, and there was a wash
Oh,
behind
yeah.
my house, and like
Mm-hmm.
kids and dogs could get lost in that thing, or you could play in it a lot when it was dry and deserty. But in the summer, it was full of water, and it was really cool. I only found out later in life that that doesn't happen everywhere. One of those things you think
No.
everybody has monsoon season, and people don't know what washes are sometimes. And I think it's like the alley, but a river behind your house.
I think the
Or-
market. Oh, what?
Mhm. Go for it.
Oh, I think the road leading to the market. We've crested a hill. It'll come down and goes back up, and the market itself is atop one of these foothills, with
Okay.
the wash kind of being down below, going around the lower side of that.
The market is on the top of a hill. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
AJ, you want to tell us about the tower? Something. Our description of a tower is a place that reaches so high up to the sky that it feels like it scrapes against the clouds. And so in this place that we've already described, then it would be jutting out of the mists and fog in the valleys below, standing tall above this raging wash.
I think this is a. Are we using the book here where it says aesthetic elements and stuff like that?
I think you're just using your mind.
Cool.
Using your mind for now, and then we can
yeah.
get into those details.
I like the idea that it has been built out of the different boulders and trees that have washed down that have been washed down, and so it has great timbers that have been broken way up in mountains, and that it has a large base of boulders that have been trudged up from the wash and put in place. I think it's built well, but at the same time, it sometimes looks as if you can see it's different eras that it's been built in the different form of architecture that it has.
I like that.
I like the idea that there are boulders strewn about this town. Every once in a while, there's just a giant rock, and the tops of everything, boulders, houses, towers, everything is just with it being so wet and moist here. Everything is covered in moss.
Oh yeah.
All the roofs.
Slate roofs. Shingles.
Sure. Slate roofs.
Mossy mounds. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So as you crest the top of this hill, the slate on this road crunches under your feet, little bits and pieces breaking off. You're about to pass a small shrine to a forgotten god. Do you want to do anything here?
I do. As soon as you mentioned it and then mentioned the time of year, I think Bill has gathered a small amount of those white spring flowers, and
Harbinger of spring.
just without ceremony, just casually wants to place them at the feet of the shrine, just to pretty it up a little bit.
Ooh, that you are learning. That's really nice. I like that.
It just look like it could use a little decoration.
Yes, after this last few storms, things tend to be blowing in all over. I think we could maybe get a bough over here and polish up some of this stone. It has a little too much moss in it for my liking. You can't see the etchings. You always like to see the etchings.
What does it say?
What does it say? My old eyes. Let's see. Can you read it? Do we need more light?
What has an etching on it? A
Uh,
rock?
this-
A rock?
The stone around the
The shrine. Okay.
the shrine. What else has an etching on it?
That. Bill, what'd you see over there when you stopped to put some flowers?
I just saw a small stone shrine. It's covered in moss. It's right here, and I thought the white of the flowers just went really well with the dark gray stone and the green moss. Wouldn't you say? I think it's a little prettier now.
I think so.
I just
I
found
think so,
this
too.
acorn cap lid over here, and I think we should put some water in it to make it a little vase so the flowers can last a little longer.
Maybe one of the gods will want to drink from it in a little while. Also, very thoughtful. I like it. I think Aldo will look in his different pockets and ask the different gods if does this look like a new home for you? Yes? No? No? You know, you're being awfully quiet. You're looking awfully quiet too. You don't know. It's too rainy. I agree. No, it's too bright. Yep. Not enough sun. Yes. Okay. I don't think any of them want to be here. So
They're just so snug in your cloak.
well, I would rather be snug than out in this rain and not rain and rain and not rain also.
The weather's perfectly pleasant to me. And Bill will pat the little shrine on its top. And shall we head to the market?
Oh yes, we could use for something nice and warm.
I'm looking forward to the
It's
tea.
You've heard things about tea in this place. Tea is big in this town. As the three of you head down the hill, leaving the little shrine behind, one, Hope and Bill each get a token for collaboratively leaving a little something for this lost and forgotten god. And Aldo, as you turn your head probably 180 degrees as you're leaving this place behind, what little thing do you see near the shrine?
Sorry.
I think we
I
see
think it's just Aldo.
I think as we walk away, we look back at that shrine and out pops a little carved white stone that's being carried by a bug of sorts, and the bug helps it down and next to the little thumbful of water, and it stops, and they both smell the flower, and before the next sun passes over and Sunbeam hits it. They are back inside.
Take a token for taking a moment to watch a tiny moment of beauty and describing it to the table.
So good. So good.
The three of you head down this hill, the slate crunching below your feet, and as you go, the mist of this place begins to envelop you. The smells of the rain in the forest dissipate a little bit, and you begin to hear the sounds of a market, not as busy as some markets you've been, especially considering it is very wet here. As you move into the mist, beads of moisture start to coalesce on your fur and feathers and cloaks. And then the mist opens up and you can see a bridge over this torrent of water, this heavy flow of water going out to some sea somewhere to the west. And now we get to describe the market. So, a market is a place where near anything can be traded and bartered, and where people from across the Haith gather with supplies to exchange. And you get in, you begin to see colorful awnings and banners with let's see, it's spring. It's pretty much the same time it is now in our real world. What sort of things, what sort of specifically foods, fruits and vegetables and other things are being sold at this market?
Fruit tarts.
That's what I was thinking too.
Great. Lots of fruit tarts. Probably lots of tea.
Mm-hmm.
What's spring food? Salads, bags of greens, and little shoots that
Okay.
have just started. Lots of shoots and baby greens.
Yeah, and like onion sets, starters,
Mm.
things to be planted.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We're going to choose two aesthetic elements of this place, and I'll read off the list. Show-stopping livestock,
Bug
foreign wares, confusing currencies, antique relics, distant smells, a familiar crafty merchant, or something else of your own imagination. As a group, we are picking two of those. Actually, you know what? No, we are having Andrew and Crystal pick one of those each.
One of the aesthetics for a market.
Yep.
I'm going to vote for confusing currencies.
Confusing currencies. I think to go with confusing currencies, you hear languages you've never heard before.
I was going to say distant smells, but I think with all that, we might need a familiar crafty merchant that maybe speaks something we don't fully understand.
But you have to understand a little bit if they're familiar, right?
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Gosh. Yeah. So does that mean we've been here before? Maybe.
Have any of you been here before? Or has this merchant traveled? If you do go with the merchant, has the merchant traveled from places that you've been before?
Ooh. Like there's a circuit and we all visit the same farmers markets.
Mm-hmm. The wheel. Yeah.
What's the wheel?
Or is this a
It's the
merchant
circuit that they travel.
is this a
Just making it
merchant that is always ahead of us.
Maybe.
That every time we go somewhere, they are almost always there. Even if we try to outrun them or try to get behind them,
What's their deal?
they're always there. They always seem to beat us. And
At this point, you feel like they might have a twin.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
We will get into describing this merchant in a moment if you decide to interact with them.
well, their name has to be Mitch if they have the twin.
Oh man, we'll see.
I have a token.
And I'm letting you describe the good one too.
The good one.
So AJ gets the choose one folklore about this place.
Ooh, a folklore about this place.
There's a list.
Yes, there's a
Oh,
list.
there's a list.
Or no, but does say or something of your own invention. Looked like your mind was
Yeah.
making up something cool.
Yeah.
So go with that.
If you can have something cool if you got it, but the list is the eel demon and the lutist, the crow and the 33 thieves, or the golden king and how he lost his heart.
The Golden King and how he lost his heart really plays into what I was thinking. I like the idea that the tower is here, is the Golden King's tower, and he lost his heart. That's during the winter season, and that's why the river flows and rages so hard, is because it's trying to uncover the heart that he's lost. And so there's an idea of this place is a bastion of the kings of some sort, and that's why the tower keeps getting built and rebuilt higher and at different times, and that's why the river flows, is because it's raging for his heart or something.
Maybe with the tower and knowing AJ and I's recent discussions, the tower here with the Golden King and the folklore about the heart. This is actually the center of that that wheel of traveling merchants. So this place is like right at the middle, and at some point the merchants will move out to the edges and start going around their yearly circle of towns.
I like that.
So in this market, you can always describe what you can find here. You can always reveal the consequences of theft. And you can always offer something they want at an affordable price. Give them a token if they refuse the offer. So as you are moving through the busy stalls, I think it's not super early in the morning, but it's early-ish. The mist seems to tower above these stalls like walls, and the airflow of the people moving through it pushes it aside. You spot a familiar merchant as a number of roving youths who look very, very bored walk around and maybe try to grab a couple things from some stalls.
How dare they?
You hear that merchant that you know yell something after these kids as he spots one of them steal a fruit tart. Something like, "You no good kids, I'm gonna get ya," and he rushes out from behind his stall. It's like this almost caravan cart that is opened on the side, but as he gets out into the road, the kids turn a corner and disappear into the mist. Sighs.
And while he's running, a couple other kids pop in and steal tarts behind him.
Hey, you!
Tag
Stop
teaming.
there!
Can't catch me.
And you see him sigh a little bit, look a little dejected. Every time.
Bill's gonna, having seen this, he's taking note of the direction the kids run off in, and without a hurry, follows along. He's gonna try and catch up to them once they've reached what they think is a safe spot.
And Aldo and Hope.
I don't know. What would she do? She just saw some punk kid steal some stuff from a crafty guy. He didn't sound so crafty.
Maybe he loses his craftiness when he gets flustered.
I like that.
But you know he's a shrewd salesman.
What if... Okay. So he went back to his stall. He like shouted and then ran back.
Yeah, he looks a little dejected. He ran back to his stall. He's back behind it again.
I love this so much. Good night, kiddo.
What does Hope do?
I don't know. So my first thought was that she feels kind of like little enough, like she could be almost like one of them, and wants to just sort of like run alongside, like, "Hey guys, what you doing?" And like sort of hopes that they don't mind, like she can blend in, but then it's like, "So, what you got there? Maybe we should take that back."
You're gonna follow Bill around the corner, off into the mist, maybe moving ahead of Bill to actually catch up with the kids.
Yeah, so he's hanging back, but I'm like gonna run alongside, like I'm part of the pack suddenly.
Okay. And Aldo, what would Aldo do in this situation?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, the youth. Oh, the youth. I think he would go up to the cart, wait there patiently for Mitch to return, and he would buy some tarts and commiserate with him.
So we get to talk about this character now.
Sorry, I missed it. My kids came in and said
That's
they're
okay.
saying goodnight.
He's so cute.
So this Kith, as our NPCs are called in this game, you have named him Mitch. Okay. What sort of animal is Mitch? He's crafty.
What's the little monkey? One of the things that you were
A tamarin,
able to be. Yeah, what's a tamarin look like?
a squirrel monkey,
It looks like, yeah.
wily.
Want to
crafty,
go with
don't
the
they?
tamarin?
I like that.
Okay. Does Aldo have a relationship to this person? I guess you've seen them in multiple markets.
But have you spoken?
I think if not him, some of the other Mitches for sure.
Is
you
there
know,
only one Mitch? Who knows?
Who knows? I think on his card it says Mitch and Sons, right? And some tamarins are big, some are small, some are medium sized, and
They're all
Some-
named Mitch.
And some are Mitches.
They're all Mitch.
they're all Mitch. They're all
Okay.
Mitch. I think we have this back and forth with them that their prices fluctuate depending on his mood.
His mood, where he is, what season it is, but mostly his mood.
Man, so
Yeah.
everything's gonna go up now.
Yeah, the
Sweet talking.
and I think that we always just want to, like, we've averaged out the base, and so we only ever want to pay X amount. Some days that he
But
wants
he's crafty though, so
and so we would roll a negotiation every time, but we would do our best to maintain that same level. Like, you sold us, these for 5 shells last time, and 2 shells the time before. So
There's precedence.
uh-huh. So don't try this just because you're trying to make up for your lost profit because you don't have enough eyes on your cart. So let's,
tell me a single detail about Mitch.
Mitch loves sweet tea.
Loves sweet tea. Great.
Mitch will do just about anything for sweet tea. The sweeter, the better.
Okay.
No citrus, just sweet.
And then lastly, we're going to choose 2 or more traits, which for me is page 113. For you is probably page 123, if I'm remembering that weird math right.
That was
10 plus
impressive.
pages.
What was yours so I can follow?
113.
113. Yeah, if there are ever lists, just say the number because I'm really bad at auditorily hearing lists. I need to read them with you.
Under traits.
Yep. 2 traits. We already said he's crafty, so that's one of them. Which is funny because that's a different kind of crafty.
What do you mean? Different than what?
He's skilled at putting things together.
Oh, like arts and crafts.
Yeah.
Or like sales bundles.
I like sales bundles.
Yes.
He knows what things go well together. That's right.
So this whole time we had
That's
it
part of
wrong.
why. Yeah.
He's
Yep.
not cunning. Okay.
No.
I didn't know.
Because cunning is one of them. Cunning is
Yeah,
one of the intellectual
I
traits.
see that now that I have the list in front of me.
Uh-huh. What else you got for me, AJ?
I'm thinking many-faced. I don't know what it is.
Many-
Under social.
Yep.
Because you don't know if they're twins or not.
Many-faced. Many-faced because,
That's perfect, actually.
yeah.
So you see him get back into his stall, look a little bit dejected, and then change his face dramatically as Aldo approaches and says, "Hi, what can I do for you?" And we'll move over into the alley where Hope has caught up with these young boys who are passing around some pastries.
So
All
I've
right, one for you, one for you.
Yep. I've
2
inserted.
for me.
I've run up, and I'm small enough to sort of seem like I could be one of the youths, and I insert myself into the circle and just stick my hand out. I'm like ready to take my turn that we're handing out, and then I see if I can get as many as I can, like another face, and then I just slowly saunter off and be like, "Do. Okay, I'm gonna take these where they belong. Thanks." But I don't
One for
say
you, one for 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 you. One. Wait, who are you? And you walk off.
Yeah, and I don't say anything except maybe thank you.
And you hear the murmuring as you walk off. Who was that? Did you just steal one of our pastries?
Steal.
What the heck, man? And Bill?
Bill just kind of struts into the alleyway, kind of tapping his walking stick as he goes. And then he kind of looks over and says, "What are you guys up to?"
I think as Bill walks into the alleyway, the mist clears and he sees the 5 or 6 kids, each with at least 2 pastries in a hand.
Uh-huh.
And they look him up and down and say, "Nothing." And the youngest one hides the pastries behind his back. What are you up to?
Bill, fidgets and taps the pommel of his sword and just kind of gets that kind of grown-up voice. Seems you lads are hiding something. What are you hiding?
That littlest one says, "I'm not hiding anything." And if they could put them further behind their back, they do.
Seems perhaps you've obtained something without paying for it. Something that's not yours. That's not very honorable.
I'm gonna teach him how to be honorable.
What else are we supposed to do? We don't have any money. There's nothing to do around here. Might as well have a little fun.
Well, nothing to do isn't an excuse for not paying for the goods that you have. Are you hungry?
Not really.
Not really.
That guy has more pastries than he knows what to do with.
There's
And
always-
his prices are really high. My dad says so.
I happen to know Mitch. His prices are more based on the fact that you've stolen from him than paid for anything. I imagine if you were to take those right back to him, he would be inclined to lower his price. Here, in fact, why don't you come along with me? I'll make sure that things are resolved in a good way.
What do you think you would do to convince these kids? They're bored. They could easily just run down the alley and run away.
But that scary, imposing presence of the old guy. Ooh.
Yeah, it's this old guy here now.
It's so scary when old people catch you doing bad things.
Bill's trying to put on kind of, and I don't know necessarily how it looks for a badger, but he's trying to put on his best smile. And
I think it's yeah, a lot of teeth.
like, you don't want to be causing any trouble around here that has any lasting consequences. I can assure you, I promise you that. Sorry, the gift distracts me there. I promise you that there'll be no consequences for coming and doing the right thing. The right thing delayed but still done is still the right thing.
I think as you smile your toothy smile at these kids, 4 of them run away, but 2 of them stay behind and maybe look a little they look a little ashamed that their excuse for fun was noticed and commented upon, and I think they're gonna follow you.
I would, as the 4 that are turning to run go, the walking stick comes up in hand and gets thrown at their feet to trip as many as possible.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
I
man.
think that is a token spend.
Okay, I will spend my token.
That is
Can I
that
have
is
all
a
4 for
provide a
token?
solution for an aspect of a material or immediate problem.
Plus, it's almost violent, and we don't do that here.
Just stopping them from running
Where-
away. Not looking to
Where's
cause harm.
Hope?
I sauntered back, and I'm walking up to Aldo and Mitch, and I just casually
Okay.
lay them my rescued pastries next to the ones they belong with.
What have Aldo and Mitch been talking about?
We've been commiserating over the fact that we can't always get the best fruit yet because it's not in season. But luckily, it's blooming right now. So that should provide us with a little more comfort knowing that the seasons are changing, Mitch, and that we can put on a better face and that the sunshine is coming and that we'll have less rain, less of this constant rain. And then the kids will be put to the harvest and they'll learn skills and be useful again, opposed to sitting here getting fat and ornery like us.
I notice you talk about the fruits aren't totally ripe yet and ready, and I go over to a blossoming tree and pick off some of the little white flowers and go and decorate the little things to make them look a little prettier with a garnish. They each get a flower.
Well, thankfully, we're only 1 month away from Bloom Meadow. It's only a matter of time before the fruit start ripening up and we get to start harvesting.
It'll be nice. Just a little more patience and we'll be there. And look, oh lovely Hope, you've decorated these so well. Thank you.
I should hire you.
Oh, you would have to hire for a pretty price. I don't want to just leave her here. She's fantastic to be on the road with.
No, I'm on a budget. It's better this way. I prefer to travel alone anyway.
Well, you never seem to be alone. We always seem to be passing you. You're always ahead of us or behind us or everywhere we go. You seem to be here. So you're never alone. We're always with you, it seems.
Sure does seem that way. Though I can't say you've ever bought anything before.
Oh, we buy plenty of things.
You have a lot of nice conversations, I can tell you that, but
Well, your
there's a line
prices.
forming up behind you.
I think it was your brother that we usually buy things from if it wasn't you.
Oh, you mean Mitch the Second?
Yeah.
Wait, you're not
I'm
the
Mitch
Mitch
the
with the
Third.
jerky. Oh,
No.
I was wondering what happened to your meat pies. These all seem to be preserves, right? They do look delicious.
I think Bill comes walking through the mist. What is
Yeah.
he looking like?
Oh, he has an entourage of hooligans with him. Hoodlums. He's got the 4 that tried to run away by the scruffs of their collars. So 2 in each hand. And then the 2 that stayed to follow are close behind. And he's gonna walk up to the cart and he just says, these boys have something to say, don't you? And gives it a little shake.
There's a chorus of, "We're sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please don't tell our mom."
Well done, boys. All right, off you go. And he releases them and pulls out a little bit of, pulls out a coin purse and pays for the tarts.
Well, I thank you for that.
Yeah.
You pay for the ones you brought back?
The
Well, they're all
I
hairy
saw-
now.
yeah, I
of
saw no
course.
need for the boys to. They just wanted a little bit of dessert. They needed to do it with honor and respect. They can. We talked about it. They can keep the pies. I'll pay for them, but they needed to apologize.
So generous.
These kids around here, it's like they've got nothing to do this season.
You got to find work for them. You know, kids will be kids. You know, I'm sure you
It
could
might be
trade a
high
couple
time
of tarts for sweeping up or straightening up the shop, and you'll find a lot less stuff goes missing.
Then you could send them out on the wheel. And then we'll have them all over our great country.
What a
Maybe not.
marvelous
Maybe-
idea.
Maybe, maybe that's not a great idea. I'll have to contemplate that. Well,
Not your best, my friend.
maybe I'll have a better one next town. All right, Mitch. Well, great seeing you. Hope to see you again.
Mitch, you still have that rose hibiscus tea?
I might have a little bit left back here somewhere. He starts digging through his supplies, goes back into his caravan, and
We could go to the
a minute later
Moliere.
comes out with a tin. What was that?
So we could go to the Tea Moliere down the path if you're out.
There are a lot of them.
I like Mitch's tea.
But he comes back with a tin and says, "Yep, that's my last tin. It's a little pricey, being as it's the last one, and it's kind of hard to get around these parts."
I'd be willing to trade or barter for it. I seem to have spent all my tokens.
Yeah, how does that work? They're confusing currencies, remember?
Do you accept tokens? Doesn't matter.
No,
I don't have any.
I don't accept meta items.
It's good. I'm all out. I got a little bit
Alright,
here.
I'll tell you what. I'll trade you.
I don't normally do trades, but
I know. Well, it is the end of the rain season, so tell you what. I have my. No, I don't want to really part with it. I really like it. My canteen here. It's full of good spring water from the high mountains.
you pull it out and pass it to him, and he looks it over. You're not really giving this away, are you? For some tea?
Tell you what. Let's brew some tea using some of this fresh spring water. You're not going to have it's better.
Well, I don't want any tea.
Well, then give me the tea and some tarts and call it a fair trade, and then we'll catch up on another time, and you'll give me a better deal, and we'll have our tea and tarts today.
Tell you what. I'm not interested in bartering today. That's not going to pay my entry to the next market. I will give this to you for, say, fair market value. Give it to you for what it's worth, rather than what it's worth this time of year.
That sounds absolutely fair, and I appreciate that.
He hands you the tin. You hand him some coins. And that's a deal done.
Thank you, Mitch. I hope to see you soon.
Probably see him in the next
Likewise,
town.
I'm sure.
Where are you
was
going
that?
next, bitch?
Oh, I'm headed west.
Dang it, Doctor. We're headed west.
Gonna follow this river to the next town.
Well, maybe we'll see you there.
I'm sure you will. What would we like to do next? We can describe the tower further. We can describe the hillock further. You can explore the town. You can meet people. You can dance. You can do whatever you want. What would you like to do in this town that we have not named?
Well, there's probably a lot of better things to do, but I really want to stop and practice a craft I'm not very good at, which is the art
Okay.
of tea making.
Okay.
I'd like to make
Where
some
is
tea.
that craft being practiced?
I think Bill's gonna look for an awning, an overhang somewhere on the edge of the market where if there's rain, it's not going to be pouring on top. He'll be seeking shelter now, even though he didn't earlier. And he's got a little canteen tea kit with him that he can heat some water in and put some tea leaves in. And so he doesn't have any of the accoutrement of a tea Moliere, But he does his best to heat some water and sprinkle some tea leaves in.
I have
Perhaps
some water for you.
he leaves it in there just a little too long.
Are the three of you staying together while you're in this town? You've spent a lot of time together on the road. Do you want to
Seems like
do
we only
things together
started.
here? What was that?
Seems like we only just got started.
Um, do you want to do all the things that you do together here, or would you split up to see what the town has to offer each of you individually?
I
As is
want.
customary in fashion, we have to split the party.
Yeah.
It is a game that I am running, yes.
Do you prefer to split parties?
I prefer for the players to have fun. And if that means you're splitting the party, that means you're splitting the party.
I'm eager to see where the other two go to see if it's something worth following because I don't particularly have anything in mind to do here. But you can make me go
Okay.
somewhere else if we want to do that.
I do like the idea of us being subjected to the ritual of tea making
Uh-huh.
as almost like new town, new tea. You know he's going to want to try to make it. Hopefully he doesn't burn it or to put too much leaf in it this time. I think that's why
I
I
see.
carry spring water.
You enjoy the you enjoy Bill making tea, the act of Bill making tea, and seeing how poorly it can go.
And I think there's a thing of maybe he'll even do the tea leaf reading while he makes a comment on how many tea leaves are left. Really, it's him trying to divine the future, which he is probably absolutely terrible at, but nonetheless, he still tries to shroud it in mystery.
I think with this being a big tea town, wandering the market, you find a covered area with maybe some awnings up. On one end of it, it's secured to a big boulder, and on the other end, it's secured to a couple poles. And there are tables set up, and each of the tables, there are these wooden tables with like a brazier in the center that has hot coals, and there are just people who are coming and going and putting kettles on, and there's this whole place set up for tea making because that's one of the major things at this market right now.
I love that so
So you're getting the smells of fruity and floral and herbal and all these other smells in this little area, all mixing and lingering. And I think there's like probably each of these little tables has a little ceramic dish with a spoon and some sugar and maybe a little small carafe of milk or something for the teas or cream. It's still cool out, and there's that mist in the air, and there's a lot of steam and quiet talk in this place as Bill sets up his equipment.
It's this dingy, almost looking ceramic pot, I would say. Something that I think he found on the side of the road, like much of his story to this point, and gathers things
Feel
on
like
his lunch journey.
Bill, I could see Bill with like little tin cups and stuff too.
Yeah. I think what inspired him to get into the craft of tea making was this ugly teapot. that was discarded, and that he's brought and he makes his tea in. But he has no other like set or anything like that. He's got the little tin cups and things like that that a soldier would carry, or nothing nothing pretty in any way. And he still is smiling that badger smile the whole time, though. You know, he pulls it out with care and places it in the brazier first, and then fumbles around for a little bit of water, and there's a little sizzle as he pours it in, and then he grabs like a fistful of tea leaves and just throws them in, and then he even like tries his best to rock it back and forth to stir it without burning himself. And when it's all ready, he picks it up gently and pours 3 tin cups of this tea that is way too tart, perhaps is the right word for it.
Before you even finish, I had already run over to the edge of the bank to grab some sweet leaf because I knew you usually make it too tangy. And I'm like, here, we put it in everybody's cup. It's like stevia, like actual leaf, to sweeten it.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a large quantity of tea leaves in each of the cup as well. One of the broken pieces of
sort
the
of drink
pot
around.
was, was the filter. And Bill sits and takes his... Sorry, these gifts are great. He sits in... He takes an almost ceremonial pose and closes his eyes and just kind of smells the tea and the tea leaves and just kind of sits there calmly.
These boulders that this is right up against seem to be piled and piled and piled upon each other, and the bits of the awning are just sort of put in the cracks in the spaces between the boulders to keep them in place. You are at the foot of this hillock, and AJ and Crystal, you two get to decide 2 aesthetic elements, and Andrew, you get to choose the folklore.
Okay.
Crystal, we are on page 151.
Thank you.
Which I believe for you, AJ, will be 161. Is that math correct?
For the hillock?
Adding 10.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's crazy.
So AJ and Crystal, you're choosing 2 of these. The hillock is a sheltered valley, a strange pile of stones, or has these things. A deep gorge, scattered fragments of civilization, evidence of distant strangeness, a quiet foreigner from higher up, or something else of your own imagination.
These are
Like,
good.
like of the specific hill that we're on, or like the whole area. I'm trying to picture what we're applying this to.
It's the this is another element of this area. So it's somewhere in this town. It can these ideas can appear in multiple places throughout the town, or they could be right where you are right now.
You first.
I think that these are all really nice. I really like them. I was thinking as we sit here sipping our tea, looking out off to the edge as we're watching, we notice different colored rocks in a strange shape. They're almost they are at a place as they're just different. They have a different color and hue, and to them, almost as if they've been rolled and cascaded down however long ago and yet now they're piled up differently. Maybe
A
almost
lot of
forming a different structure or something.
you've been seeing a lot of slate and dark stones, and I think these ones are reddish, almost desert stones.
I'd like to pair that with scattered fragments of civilization.
Okay. Yeah. So you might see that up above where Aldo is looking, but there might also be scattered fragments of civilization throughout this town. If you want,
Oh, right. We
do you
are.
want to describe it further? What you are
Yeah.
seeing?
I guess, did we actually say that that we are in a town, or we're just at a place where a market has been set up?
We didn't say it's a town. We do know that there are people living here because they're kids, but
Oh, yeah.
they could all be the tower because there's this tower.
I guess I hadn't pictured the town yet. Maybe it is there nearby, but I'm picturing that the area we are in is sort of in this valley green area. And so mixed in with these interesting, colorful stones, I'll also harken back to some of my own childhood when we would go traipsing through like Saguaro National Monument and we would find literal pieces of like Navajo pottery and things. And that was always really cool. But so I guess I imagine that there's a civilization that's lost, that even if there's a current town,
Yeah.
that there's something old here that we don't know that much about, but it seems special.
I love that there is no town here, that a market just sets up and the people selling things just cycle out all the time. And it's all just set up around this tower. And maybe even these kids who are bored, they might just be the kids of another seller at the market.
Yeah, like the shopkeep.
Yeah.
They have a few parents that all
Yeah.
have their own kids and they travel together like gypsies or something.
Andrew, choose one folklore about this place.
The folklore here is of the fallen star and the stories she told. And I'd like to say that those stories captured the Golden King's heart, which was later
Ooh, yeah.
lost. To tie it in with our tower.
Great.
I like it.
Did he have a love lost that's why the river, was that part of the story, that he lost a love too? AJ?
Sure.
I couldn't remember.
Of
The king
He lost his heart. Yeah.
yeah, the king lost his heart.
to a fallen star, maybe? Maybe she.
Now
Possibly. I'm going to take one of these and add it because I like it. And as the three of you drink your teas, you're approached by a quiet foreigner
perfect.
who he is he's a snake. He's wearing a long coat with gold buttons up the center with a high collar, and he looks oldish, not super old, but it's hard to tell his age. And he asks, "What are you worried lies ahead?" You've just got that look about you. He, I think, asks directly to Bill.
I think I always look this way when I make tea. But, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, it's a work in progress. Would you like some?
Yes, it's difficult for me to drink. Let me see if I have a straw. He rummages around in his pack. Ah, yes, I do.
Lovely. And Bill pours out his cup of tea, pours a fresh cup, and holds it up for the snake. I'm not sure I caught your name.
Ah, it's Stephen. This tea is quite bitter.
I did say it was a work in progress.
Yes, it is.
Do you, do you know a lot about tea? I think that I either over brew or under bubble boil. I'm such a lost for
Steep?
term. Steeping? Oh yeah, steeping.
I do not know much about tea. I am a bit of a poet myself. I'm just traveling through at the moment and surprised to not see clouds in the sky this time of year.
Oh,
Ooh, give it time, give it time. They always seem to be coming back. But though you are correct, seems to be a lacking of clouds around the tower. That is odd.
And you? Are you worried about what lies ahead?
Nice.
Oh, me or her?
I think he was looking at you.
You, my
Hmm.
dear
Oh.
owl.
Oh, of course. I worry all the time. You never know where one will lie their head or their next meal will come from on the road. You're always worried about such things, but they always seem to pop up. You know, the things we carry often dictate where we're going and the outcome of things, how they play out. I carry with myself a few friends, and I walk with a couple of wonderful folk also. And I worry about how things will go. I worry about all of them.
Myself, I do not know what is next for me. In my journeys, I seem to be always looking for a place, and I just seem disconnected.
Were you ever connected? Anywhere?
Once I was, long ago. The seasons change, and so do we.
in my experience,
Perhaps
a good cup of tea or a desire for connection is all one needs to find new friends and make new acquaintances. I find that you always can belong once you decide that you belong.
I see. May I join the three of you for another cup? I have some tea on me. You can continue your practice if you would like.
Where does yours come from?
Far to the east,
Spicy, huh?
the mountains beyond the mountains.
I'm always willing to try something new.
This one requires a steep of 3 minutes precisely. The temperature's also a thing of precision, but I don't suppose you have a thermometer.
I don't. A pretty good guess though. Judge of temperature and time.
If you would allow me to teach you, you can ascertain the temperature possibly by listening and listening closely.
I'd be very interested to learn how to gauge the temperature by listening. I don't think that's anything I've done before.
I watch really intently on what's about to happen.
Aldo
Who would like
looks
to
into
describe?
his shawl and goes, "All right, Dulcet, you need to be quiet. They're going to be listening. You don't need to be singing at the moment. I will let you dance in a little bit and sing. Right now, you need to be quiet. Shh. Sorry.
There's always a Hans
Go on.
somewhere.
I'm going to. You may all participate in this. We're taking a moment to marvel at something nobody has seen before. Please describe it.
While we wait next to the river, there is a fish that jumps and is, rather than the reflection coming, his reflection goes the opposite way, where you see the sun going from the fish, the sunbeam going from the fish, and shoots up into the sky rather than it being lit up the other way. And it just as fast as it's like it shoots a beam of light out of itself rather than it being glistening.
Like the
The other way.
spotlights at night that go up.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
That is.
I meant describe what Steven teaches you, but that's great
Oh.
I
too.
thought you were about to say how the fish was like a
Oh,
thermometer.
never mind then.
I thought the fish was going to indicate the temperature.
If you
Please
listen,
take a
if you
token
listen,
for that bizarre thing that just happened. That maybe some small spirit of the river.
I hope we see that again. That was really amazing.
I'll make a note of it. Laser shooting fish. Got it. Something that Stephen teaches us.
Andrew looked like he was thinking
You already
really hard.
gave us your answer
Yeah.
for something that Stephen teaches. So I'd like what Hope and Bill what they observed. Why can't I say observe
It's an
when
impossible
I'm being
word.
recorded? What the two of you observe
What you
Stephen
see.
do? What is this? What do you marvel at? The technique that this snake has.
I think part of what Steven does is he's saddled up next to the brazier and uses his tail to wrap around the lid, and he gets his head right up next to the top of the teapot and cracks it ever so slightly and listens, as he said. And that crack, after some time, begins to whistle just a little bit as the steam comes out. And then as it starts to whistle, he pulls the lid further back and adds the leaves. And
What?
Hope, how does he tell time without a timer?
Do I need to let you say what you're about to say, Mark, before I answer that?
No,
Okay.
no. I was going to ask you a very similar question.
Okay. I'm fascinated by the fact that he actually uses the very tip of his tail to kind of stir it a little bit, and that's his own little thermometer to tell that it's like he knows when it's okay and not too hot and it won't burn him, and he just tests it and he like stirs it with his little tail, the tip of it.
And as he takes the pot off, he flicks over the opening of the top with his tongue and says, "Smells delicious." And pours out the 4 cups for the 4 of you. Would you like to describe what it tastes like? We said it's from the mountains beyond the mountains, from the far east, but that's all that we described about this tea.
It's so spicy. There's like cinnamon and clove and orange. It's kind of a sharp citrus spice I picture red and orange colors. I picture flavors and colors
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. I guess it would
I can
be
picture this
it could
in
be a red tea.
like a
Rubios?
dark
Yes.
red brown. Yeah.
I was thinking rooibos too. I love that. That's my favorite.
It's a bark or root of a tree of the mountains beyond the mountains. It's the tree itself is like resilient, and that comes across as spice and these cloves for the flavors. It would be
Almost like
excellent with
a,
some milk and sugar.
I like this one clear.
Okay. You spend a little more time with Stephen and the tea, and he thanks you for the company. What is next for the three of you in this town, or in this place, this market, this tower? How long did you intend to spend here?
I thought we would just pass through, kind of see the market, get some stuff that was of interest, and it, like we said, there's nothing really stable here. And to me, I think the magic of the place, that why they have a market there, is that past civilization. Like it's an ideal place to set up, but for some reason no one lives there anymore. But it still makes perfect sense to have this seasonal market that everyone can kind of travel to. It's ideally placed.
Now, Hope, have you ever considered climbing the tower?
I would love to. I've always considered it. Do you want to come
Of course.
to the very top? How
I
about
mean,
you?
legend has it you can see if you climb the tower all the way up to the top, and you strike out at the right time, the king's heart will reveal itself if you're worthy.
When's the right time?
No one knows.
Have you been before?
Here? No, I've just heard the stories.
Let's go.
Will you be joining us, Aldo?
Oh, of course. I have just the perfect godling for climbing a tower.
What does it do?
They are a single beam of light, and they will help illuminate the way for you.
What a lovely idea.
The candle godling?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my faves.
AJ, would you like to lead through our description of the tower on page 144 for those of us with books, and 154 for AJ?
Hey, I clicked a link, and this is what it gave me. That a tower is a place that reaches so high up to the sky that it feels like it scrapes against the clouds.
Look at what this place can always do.
This place can always describe something very small and far away, spread concern around structural stability, make someone dizzy or disoriented, and give them a token. Okay. Oh, I like this.
Who's disoriented?
So with this one, AJ and Andrew, you are doing the aesthetic elements, and Crystal, you get to choose the folklore.
Okay.
Or make up your own, because we've already got some rich folklore surrounding this area that you may want to expand upon rather than choosing one of the three provided ones.
Yeah, this tower came with folklore.
Yeah.
I'm going to read them real quick just to see if they tie in. The Observatory of the Lightning Dancers. The first of the Moth Towers. Also excited about the moths. The Ghost that Walks the Stairs. Oh, they're so good. Ooh, could the king be a ghost? Can we meet the king?
Ooh,
Can
I
there
like
be
that.
secret passages? Please.
Possibly.
What am I supposed to do? My brain's going a lot of places. What was my actual assignment?
Choose one folklore and feel free to expand upon it.
Okay.
Something you know about this place. No, in quotes, something that is said about this place.
It feels really simple. I want to know or hear that the ghosts or that the king sometimes still walks the stairs up and down.
Perfect.
I'll give you mine then, and it ties in perfectly. A grieving soul responsible for keeping everything in working order,
Like a bell
as if
tower guy?
as if the entire tower, this rickety structural thing, is being held together by this grieving soul.
And then I have this image of your little light thing finding like a crack of like light shines through a crack of something like a movable brick and it exposes something exciting. But I don't know what.
Shines gold.
That's very other placey, like that. Mark, make it up for us. What do we find behind a brick wall or a stone wall?
What is Andrew? What is your aesthetic element?
I think aesthetically that there's not enough space for all the clutter for the times that this tower has been expanded upon and upon the washed boulders and driftwood and everything that have come to create this from the earth up.
Great.
It's full of tiny spaces.
Wait, it wasn't built. It was amassed naturally.
It was built from the elements of nature around it.
But by hands.
By hands.
Okay.
By
it.
many hands over many years.
Yeah, I like that.
And the three of you reach the base. There's a darkened doorway that you step through. You can see through the stones and wood and timber and fallen bits, the winding stair that goes all the way to the top. And way up in the distance, you can see the pinprick of light that must be the exit up into the top of this tower. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
Aldo first.
I'll do first.
Woohoo! Aldo first.
Who are you?
Who, me? Woohoo! Yeah, Aldo will happily go first. I think him going into many different shrines, he's used a little bit to the spookiness of entering into weird places that is unfamiliar. And I think that he gets comforted by having this little godling with the little light. See, what is it? Let's see. This is Zenith. He'll pull out Zenith, a little single sunbeam, and I think they are. I want them both. I think it's a luminescent, and it gives off light, but I think that light gives me the confidence to go forward. That's one way I'll work around the and or.
Were you nervous?
I think Aldo always gets nervous anytime he has to go somewhere new.
Oh.
Well, plus there's stories of ghosts in this place and old kings and losing of heart, and if you just listen to the stories, you know, those things alone will get you all sorts of spooked and anxious. So I don't always want to speak to the ghost, you know, but then again, maybe the ghost needs speaking too, like you said. Maybe the ghosts need the comfort. Hope you have such hopes. Who I don't really want to speak to a ghost, but like you said, I might have to. It might be what I'm here for.
I've never spoken to a ghost before. That hadn't even crossed my mind that you could do that. But if we meet them, I hope you do.
I hope we do. I hope we do. Well, if we do, I hope we do. But if we don't, I will be satisfied in not having to speak to a ghost.
I can understand
Ah.
that.
Mr. Bill, have you spoken to ghosts before?
I can't say that I've spoken to ghosts before. No? I mean, there's always the ghosts of our past, but apparitions, spirits, no, I can't say I have.
This would definitely be the kind of place that would have one, though. I can almost feel it.
Too right. Too right.
I don't think there's anything to be scared of. I mean, after all, it could be a friendly ghost if there is one.
The stones under Bill's feet crumble and fall down the large empty space to his left. As he says, there's nothing to be scared of.
Just a bit of old rock is all. It's
Watch your step.
it would be a long fall, for sure. But and at least take solace in the fact that if we were to trip and fall from such a height here, we'd be dead by the time we hit the bottom.
By the time, like,
Oh, sure. It would be the sudden stop at the end.
None of you are wind gods, are you? None of you? You? No, 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 no. Still lost. Haven't figured out yet. Light, shadow, no. No, I don't have any wind ghosts to keep us from falling. So, well,
I think we can hop it. Let's keep going.
The three of you keep going, and you make it to the light at the top of this tower. Moving out onto the space, you can feel the cool spring air moving by you. You can see the large market sprawling out, the colors of the tents and caravans peeking through the mist covering the ground below. You can see the surrounding hills and hillocks like islands in this sea of mist. Would anybody like to describe something very small and far away? Or would anybody like to become dizzy and disoriented at this great height that you're standing at?
Not me. I love twirling around.
I think Bill becomes a little disoriented. I think the
You're very
legend-
high up.
I'm very high up, and I think that the
And
legends.
this tower is meandering up, too. It's not a straight tower.
It has great movement.
gotta let us sway into it.
Yeah.
I want to
But
say.
Bill-
Bill.
Bill does he have to sit down?
I think Bill sits down. I think the journey up, the meandering, the wandering, as much as he wasn't terrified or anything along those lines coming up, that legend, the folklore that we're speaking of, the fact that the king's heart, the Golden King's heart, was won by a fallen star with her stories, and that heart was lost somewhere along the lines, was reflected in the wandering of the staircase. And I think Bill has become disoriented with that fact of those emotions, the ideas of lost loved ones and things along those lines at such a dizzying height. Can see out and see the vast land and the people in it, all of whom have important stories to tell about themselves. It becomes overwhelming and disorienting, and Bill kind of stumbles back towards the doorway and finds a boulder to sit on.
So the lore just got to you.
I just need a minute. It's just a long walk.
Aldo will come sit next to Bill and take a wrinkled piece of paper and start smoothing it out and start folding it. You know, it would be a shame to climb all the way up to the top of this tower and not throw a paper airplane off. Would you like everyone like a piece of paper?
Yes, please.
Yes.
And Bill quietly will take a piece of paper.
Please describe what your paper airship looks like.
Oh. Sorry.
I think Aldo's will be a complete circle with a couple little wings. I can't remember the name of them.
Like a gyrocopter.
It's similar. Let's see. Circle paper airplane. Just called it paper glider. Great, thanks. That's not very original. It's got a specific name. Darn it. Yeah. It's a ring. It's a ring wing glider.
What does Hopes
Any-
look like?
So I glance over at you guys, and at least one of you look like you know what you're doing. I'm not sure who yet. Probably at least Aldo. And I think, I've always wanted to be good at this, but I never really got the hang of it. Could you show me how to do this?
Of course. Of course. What sort would you like? Do you want a fast one? One that glides and glides and glides? Do you want one that does tricks and stunts?
I want one that can go as high as possible. Goes up.
Oh my.
That won't just sink to the ground, because that's what mine usually do. Doesn't have to be anything special, just that it goes up a little. A glider.
Definitely can do one of those. First, you take it here and you fold it this way, and you fold it long ways, and then you start folding it, and he'll go into making a nice wide glider.
I always imagined they'd be skinny and pointy. Maybe that's been my problem.
Oh, we can definitely make one of those. One of my favorite things would be to take one of those and one of the gliders and throw them together and watch them dance and fall apart.
That's amazing. Can we give each other tokens? I think he needs one for helping me make an airplane. Mark. I don't know how it works.
Yes. You I think this counts as pausing for a moment and having a rest. You're enjoying the time up here. So
And going out of your way. to help
everybody can
someone.
have a token.
Okay.
I like that. Thank you.
Do I also get one for being disoriented, or did I describe it too much?
You
as a
do.
rest?
Yeah.
Sweet. I have 2 tokens. I can win twice.
Can you win this game? Is there
No.
winning?
There's no winning.
I didn't think so.
Winning is sad. Winning is deciding that your character has
yeah.
completed their journey.
This silly game. They're so bent on making you sad.
Yep.
Wait, you can't go to sleep. You're in the game.
I am in the game. It's meant for Dustin.
Oh. That was minutes ago.
See, YouTube, if you're not
So-
on Discord, you're missing out.
Yeah, you have to come on Discord.
It's a really cute
That's where the
raccoon.
memes flow like tea, and
And you get raccoons and quilts, and they're so cute.
smiling badgers and descriptive memes of what we're talking about. So if you want to come back, you can queue up this and come over to our Nightcast Discord and scroll through, and you'll see when we giggle and pause and the descriptive memes. memes.
Why I laugh randomly at things that don't apply to what we're saying. Oh my gosh, there were some funny ones. Anyway,
So the three of you make gliders and send them soaring off the top of this tower. And some of them do tricks, and some of them glide for a long time, and others fall down and don't do so well and just disappear into the mist below you.
that was my first
And the three of you take a short rest, and as you turn to go back into the tower, there in the doorway, you spot a golden mask just floating, waiting for you to return.
That is super creepy.
You want to tell me what animal this mask looks like?
Grizzly bear.
Yes.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bear. It is large and it's above your line of sight. And what would the three of you like to do, spotting this mask floating there in the darkened doorway, just out of the light?
Well, you're a bit peculiar, aren't you? Do you like tea?
Bill seems really confident, so I'm going to hold out my cup in support. Please drink our tea.
I don't think the cup is going to float away from you, but you hear in a whispered voice, "Are you in a place to listen right now?"
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Have you something to tell us?
As the three of you listen, the golden mask moves into the space of the tower and beckons you to follow and tells you the story of the Golden King and the lost love of the, is it the star,
Fallen star.
the fallen star. And by the time you make it to the bottom, it sort of evaporates into the wall of this place, and you see the edges around a stone glow gold for a second, and I would like, you don't have to spend a token to do this, but you have spent some time listening to the wisdom of this ghost who, through time and people remembering him and people telling his story, has become a small and maybe not so forgotten god. Would you like to tell me what they said to you? The three of you together.
I think
Wait.
this time it might have been a story of a visitor that came to the tower.
Perhaps at the beginning of the tower, at the time of the tower, it was but a small hill cobbled together with some of the local boulders and wood. And the bear who would become king had humble origins and just sought to create a place to live. And then the visitor came.
The maybe between the two of them, the visitor and the bear, they struck an accord with each other to continue to meet here. Was there an event that triggered it?
She was a sun bear. The sun representing the star. And she was royalty of a nearby kingdom. And the I think she was traveling through the area to have dealings with another neighboring kingdom, and this space in between lay unclaimed, and saw this golden bear as its king eventually over time and multiple meetings and
I think she would share the stories of her travels. The Golden King never traveled far from his claim. And the desire to grow the tower stronger or taller was to see further without having to leave.
to be able to see her kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some of the stones that were gathered, he gathered on his big, broad back. And he would bring them, he'd go farther out and bring them back. And that it was maybe it was him who carved this channel around so that it was the drag marks of the rolling of boulders is what helped carve the river.
So his path fills up with the rains.
The tears.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because the clouds block the view of her kingdom and where she is.
The tower's
And so
the-
he built his. Mm-hmm.
It's the only
So he-
thing high enough to pierce the mist.
And so he continues to build his tower to see farther and up and higher up and out of the mist.
Plus, it's closer to the stars.
As you prepare to leave this place, you each take a stone from the floor and add it to the tower. And as the mask moves into the wall, you hear a whispered voice say, "Thank you for listening." And you leave this place. And you're just traveling through this marketplace, this tower. And unless there's anything else you want to do, might be time to hit the road.
I think...
When we're up, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
go.
I was going to say while we were up top, and you asked us to describe something far away.
Mhm.
Maybe when we tossed our airplanes off in the direction, that is what we saw was the next lonely inn or a place that we're going to be headed next.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
The thing that caught our eye.
So there's no infrastructure here, but it's getting late and we knew we wanted to stop, and we're not going backwards. We're just moving on. We're journeying. And so I like that, yes, we see that in the distance there is an inn, and that's where we'll spend our night and stop because we got to sleep sometime. And it's near enough we can make it.
Yep. As the sun goes down, you can see the yellow light of the windows of the inn not too far down along the road. And that is where you travel next. Settle in for the night. And I think that is the end of our first Wanderhome session.
Woo! I love this game.
Yes.
And Mr. Mod
We
stayed
need more.
with us the whole time.
We need a little more dancing in the next one, I think.
Yeah, I was like, I hope the inn has some good music.
I've got plans. I think you're gonna be able to get your groove on a little bit.
We can dance if we want to. We can
Indeed.
leave this world behind.
All right. Well, thank you, YouTube, for joining us. Watching this later or here now. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment a game you would like to see us play. Also, May 10th, we will resume our journey. And so until then, we'll see you later.
They say when a girl walks the edges of the world, she'll find herself if she looks for long enough.